U.S. President Donald Trump is in Japan, the second stop of his diplomacy blitz across Asia this week. He'll have a face-to-face meeting tomorrow with the country's new Prime Minister, Sanae Takaichi. Japan's Emperor Naruhito earlier gave Mr. Trump a royal welcome at the Imperial Palace in Tokyo. They spoke for about an hour, with Mr. Trump calling the Emperor a great man. This sets the stage for a meeting with Ms. Takaichi. Leaders are set to meet at the nearby Akasa Palace, the exact location where Mr. Trump met deceased Premier Shinzo Abe 6 years ago. For Ms. Takaichi, this is potentially her biggest diplomatic test, just a day after her first overseas trip to ASEAN. She is likely to seek reassurance from the U.S. leader about a decades-old security alliance and clarity over scant details in the trade deal reached with Washington. After Japan, Mr. Trump is hoping to cap his Asia tour with a de-escalation in trade tensions, where he meets with Chinese President Xi Jinping in South Korea. Top U.S. and Chinese trade officials previously hashed out a framework for an agreement in Kuala Lumpur. U.S. Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent has said the talks are still on track. Nick Harper joins us live from Washington, D.C., who's covering this story for CNA. Nick, what's on the agenda for Trump in Japan? I mean, what are some of the best outcomes that Washington can hope for?
Well, Genevieve, I think this is a yes and situation. The US already has that $550 billion investment pledge from Japan. Now I think Washington really wants specifics on that and to try and build on that investment promise and get more. The US Commerce Secretary Howard Lutnick has been speaking about that $550 billion investment, how it's going to be spent in the last couple of hours. He's done an interview with Nikkei, and he said that it would focus primarily on infrastructure, things like power grids and pipelines, things that Lutnick said was fundamental to the US and its national security, but involved virtually no risk. He also said that around 10 to 12 Japanese companies are looking at possible investment opportunities, the first projects potentially being identified as early as the end of this year. But I think President Trump is really hoping to get more promises from the new Japanese Prime Minister Takaichi. We could see promises on things like the purchasing of US pickup trucks, soybeans, gasoline as well. Also potentially an agreement on shipbuilding that seems to be in the works. In a phone call over the weekend, she told the president that strengthening the alliance between the US and Japan is now her top priority. But also on top of that, Donald Trump goes into these talks really looking for guarantees that Tokyo is willing to spend more on security. Takaichi has said that she plans to boost defense spending to around 2% of GDP, but Donald Trump would like even more, really to try and help counter China's dominance in the South China Sea. So he goes to Japan with a laundry list of things he wants. It's waiting to see whether he gets many of those things on his list out of these negotiations.
Well, speaking of a laundry list, Nick, American and Chinese trade officials appearing to be building up momentum ahead of a meeting between Presidents Trump and Xi. But beyond the diplomatic signaling, I mean, we understand that the meeting is not, it's on the sidelines, it's not a summit. There will be a laundry list. Sticking points remain. How can the two leaders solve, such entrenched differences?
Yeah, really entrenched issues that both sides have. And I think that's why we've seen months of negotiations and preliminary talks, all of them leading up to this face-to-face meeting between the two leaders. Now, some of the big issues, at least of late, have been rare earths, critical minerals. That's come to the fore in recent weeks. Both Washington and the European Union, they've been expressing frustration at the export controls that Beijing has been putting on its rare earth exports. And of course, that's why President Trump threatened that extra 100% tariff coming in from November the 1st if Beijing didn't reduce its controls. But really, tariffs also remain a major sticking point. Both sides are trying to reduce that massive increase of tariffs, which would basically put trade between the US and China at a standstill. The US still sees fentanyl as a problem. It wants China to do more to stop it entering the US. And it also wants China to buy more US agricultural products. It's soybeans again. American farmers are struggling. The US really wants China to try and pick up some of the slack. But President Trump goes into all of this, seeming somewhat buoyed, somewhat optimistic. He said that he feels good. He said that he could come away with a trade deal. But of course, those sticking points still need to be overcome if they're going to reach any agreement that gets rid of all of those enormous tariffs that could come in very soon.
Right, Nick, thanks for that update. Nick's Harper there reporting for CNA from Washington, D.C.